Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu mavid vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. So till this point of time we have seen what are the anatma vastus, meaning the gross, the subtle and the causal body. All the three bodies are anatma vastu. And also the panchakoshas, the annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya, anandamaya. We have seen in detail how these koshas are the conditionings on the self, and they are not the self. It has been negated as not self, not self, na iti, na iti. And then we have come to a point where the discussion is now about what is the self actually. So we have covered almost 211 verses, and now we are in the crux of the story, heart of the Vivekachudamani actually. See, there are three courses. The second course is the heart, something like that. So we have come to the heart of the Vivekachudamani. Now we shall chant the 210 and 11th verse and then go to the 212th verse. This is we have already seen, but still I want to chant it again. Panchanamapi koshanam nishedhe yuktita shrutehe tannishedhavadi sakshi bodharupo vasishyate Yoyamatma swayam jyotihi Panchakosha vilakshanaha Avastatraya sakshi san Nirvikaro niranjanaha Sadhanandassa vijneyaha Swatmatvena vipaschita. So we have seen Panchanam api koshanam nishede. When you negate all the other panchakoshas, yuktitaha shrutehe, by the logic and reasoning provided by the scriptures. Not according to your whims and fancies, but the logic and reasoning provided by the scriptures. If you negate all the koshas as not the Atma, the self, nishedhavadi sakshi bodharupaha avasishyate. When you negate it, what remains? Avasishyate means what remains? The sakshi, the witness, which is one's own self. Bodharupaha, which is of the nature of true knowledge, that alone remains. So that cannot be negated. I told you why. Because there is nobody to negate there. When you reach the self, then the ahankara is not there, then there is nobody to negate, and it can never be negated. One's own presence cannot be negated. So therefore, this Atma, the self, which remains after all the Panchakoshas are negated, is the absolute truth. This self is the self of all, the substratum of the whole universe. This Atma is Brahman. This is what Adi Shankara is trying to say. And then in the next verse he says, Ayam Atma Swayam Jyotihi. Then how is it known? By itself. Because it's of the nature of the light, nature of the knowledge. So it is known by itself. Swayam Jyotihi. Panchakosha Vilakshanaha. It is beyond the Panchakoshas. Avastatraya Sakshi. It is a witness of all the three states of consciousness. What are the three states? Waking, dream and deep sleep. So it is just the witness. Witness means what? It illumines, it's not involved. Or it is not influenced. That's what we have seen yesterday. No? Sakshi, who is the Sakshi? One who is seeing, observing, but is not involved in that. Or is not influenced by that. So, whatever happens in the three states of consciousness, this Atma, the self, is not influenced. Or it is not involved straight away, directly. So that is Sakshi. Sat. Sat means that is a pure existence. Nirvikaro Niranjanaha. Beyond every modification. In Atma, the self, there are no modifications. And Niranjanaha, it's pure. Yesterday we saw why it is pure. Because there is nothing other than it in it. It is pure. Whenever something is added, it becomes impurity. In the pure water, some mud particle added, it becomes impure. But in the self, only the self is. There is nothing other than it. So it is very pure. Sadhanandaha, always blissful. And it is not tainted with sorrows. Savijñeyaha, that has to be known. Swatmatvena, in one's own self, as oneself, that alone is to be known. Vipashita means the wise one knows it that way. So we have to know the Atma, the self, in one's own heart, as our own self. So it is very clear now. Only by giving up the body identification and going beyond mind and intellect and negating all the Panchakoshas. See, Panchakoshas are not something different from these three bodies. Everything is contained in the Panchakosha only. So when you negate it, then you come to this. So for that you need what? Viveka, between the non-self and the self. And through Viveka you get what? Samyak Jnana. When you get Samyak Jnana, the Sammoha, all the delusions are destroyed. When the delusions, the misapprehensions are gone and the non-apprehension is destroyed, removed, then what remains is the realization of the Atma, the self, the truth. So the veiling power is tamas and the projecting power, vikshepa shakti, is the rajas. When tamas and rajas are removed and when the sattva is increased, shuddha sattva, then through discrimination and through samyak jnana, the Atma, the self, is realized. So till this point we have come. Now moving on to the 212th verse. Now, Shishya has got a question now, a very valid doubt. He is asking now. And as I told you, in our Sanatana Dharma, the Shishyas are given freedom to ask, to inquire. If they have any doubt, they can freely ask without any hesitation. Our teachers are very kind. They don't put the student down. However stupid the question may be, but all questions are valid. Because for the intelligent man, as long as his intellect is not convinced, he cannot do anything. See? His intellect has to be convinced. So this question and answer is always part of our tradition. So here Shishya Uvacha. Shishya uvacha Mityatvena nishiddheshu Kosheshveteshu panchashu Sarva bhavam vina kinchit Na pashyam yatra he guro Vijneyam kimu vastu asti Kimu vastu asti Swatmanatma vipaschita Swatmanatma vipaschita. Okay. So the Shishya is asking now. Kosheshu eteshu panchashu. All these 5 panchakoshas, nishiddheshu, having rejected as not I, mityatvena, because they are not real, they are not the Atma, the self, having negated. Nishiddheshu means what? Having negated it as not the true self. Then sarva abhavam vina kinchin pashyami, kinchin na pashyami he guru. Apart from total abhavam. Abhavam means what? Nothing. Shunya. Apart from this shunya or total abhavam, he guru, kinchin na pashyami, I don't see anything else. You say you have to negate everything. The body, you go beyond mind and intellect, drop all the equipments, you say. So as I see it, when you drop everything, then there is nothing. What are you talking? Because whatever we know is through our senses, our mind, and through our buddhi, intellect. But now you are wanting me to negate everything. If everything is negated, I am nowhere. Meaning what? I don't see anything else. Total abhavam, total non-existence or total shunyam, only I see. Apart from shunyam, I don't see anything. Vijneyam kimu vastu asti. What else is there to be known there? Kimu vastu asti means what else is there? Vijneyam, to be known. Swatmana atma vipaschita. This wise man, to see in himself, by himself, what is there left behind? Everything is negated. Whatever we know, everything is negated. So from this point, I feel there is nothing else to be known. Meaning, there is complete abhavam, shunyam. So actually, Sri Shankara raises this question through his student. But it is actually the Buddhist nihilist philosophy actually. Shunyavadam of the Buddhists. Actually, Adi Shankara is very vehement about destroying this Shunyavada. Gurudev explains in his commentary, only when we are in the intellectual sheath or in the buddhi and not going deep and trying to understand the truth from the buddhi standpoint, then we come to this conclusion. Actually not negating. See, when your guru says you negate and go and see, we have to negate now. Without negating, we think. See, means what? We are only intellectualizing. If I negate, what will happen? Then I don't see anything. What are you talking, ho guru, hey guru? If I negate everything, I don't see anything. So is it shunya, total abhavam of everything? That is what you are talking about. Then you say that has to be known. Then what is to be known then? If there is nothing, what to be known? You say in your own self, you see yourself and all. But I don't see anything. See, if a student is intelligent enough, he has to ask this question. And not only that, it shows the student has not done his homework. He has not actually practiced this Panchakosha Viveka. He is only, after hearing, just asking, shooting a question from his intellectual standpoint. You understand? Guru is very patient and also very kind and compassionate. Here he applauds the Shishya. You have asked a wonderful question actually. This question is really good. Now listen, I will tell you. That's what he is going to say. Shri Guru Ruvacha. We have to read 213 and 14 together. Then only it makes sense. Satyamuktam tvaya vidvan nipunosi vicharane ahamadi vikaraste taddhabhavoyamapyanu. Apyanu இங்கே போட்டிருக்கு. ரெண்டும் இருக்கலாம் பாடபேதம். सर्वे येनानुभूयन्ते यस्वयं नानुभूयते तमात्मानं वेदितारं विद्धि बुद्ध्या सुसूक्ष्मया. श्री गुरुरुवाच सत्यमुक्तं त्वया विद्वन् निपुणोऽसि विचारणे अहमादिविकारास्ते तदभावोऽयमप्यनु. सर्वे येनानुभूयन्ते यस्वयं नानुभूयते तमात्मानं वेदितारं विद्धि बुद्ध्या सुसूक्ष्मया. What Guru says? Satyamuktam tvaya, hey Vidwan, O intelligent one, Satyamuktva, O Satyamuktya. You have said well. You have asked a wonderful question. Nipunosi vicharane. It seems you are a master, a nipunaha, expert in this vichara, in the right thinking. You are an expert, it seems. So actually he is applauding the Shishya. It is not sarcastic comment actually. It is not sarcastic. You are as if an expert. No. He is applauding really because it's a very good question asked. It's a natural question. See, whatever equipments we have to know, when all that is dropped, then how do you know? And what else is left behind? See, this is a natural question. It means the Shishya has been following the logic and arguments very closely. That is why he is able to ask this question. So he says, good, you have asked a good question, nipunosi. You are really very intelligent. Then he says, ahamadi vikaraha te tad abhavaha ayam appiyanu sarve yena anubhuyante yaha swam na anubhuyate tam atmanam veditaram. It has to be read like that. Ahamadi vikaraha. See, there are a lot of modifications in the mind, within. Modifications are emotions, thoughts, all the confusions. And aham, and the experiencer, the perceiver, feeler, thinker, all those things, if it has been removed, if it has been negated, tad abhavaha ayam api anu means what? Even after that, there is something because of which everything is experienced. Sarve yena anubhuyante. Yena means by which. Sarve anubhuyante. Everything is experienced. Swayam na anubhuyate. But it cannot be experienced through the senses and mind. There is something, he says. So he is asserting, it is not as you think, that there is nothing I see. No, it is not that. You are right. After negating all the modifications of the mind and buddhi, including the aham vritti, ahankara, Even after that, there remains something. What is that? That is the one which makes you to experience all the experiences. Sarve yena anubhuyante, because of which you experience everything. Without which you cannot experience anything. The right of consciousness, because of which you know or experience everything. But that cannot be experienced through the body, mind or the intellect. Swayam na anubhuyate, that cannot be experienced by all these things. Tam atmanam veditaram, that Atma, the self, you have to know. But how will I know? If I give up everything, how would I know? Vidhi buddhya susukshmaya. You have to use it, you have to know it using your buddhi, which is very subtle, made very subtle. Susukshmaya. Meaning what? Through proper discrimination. Buddhi means discrimination, na? So through proper discrimination between the not self and the self, you can know this Atma, the self. When the buddhi is contaminated with tamas and rajas, it is impure. It is very gross. So when the tamas and rajas are removed, and when sattva is there, that becomes susukshmya buddhya. Ahamuhamaranda amalamadi tannal. Ahamidudan engelum endrainde. Bhagavan says, na? Amalamadi tannal, pure. Madi, the buddhi. Ahamuham means what? One which is turned within and which is very pure and very subtle. This is the buddhi required for vicharam. See? See, when the buddhi is full of desires, kama, krodha, lobha, and always in the world outside, gossiping unnecessarily, and then wanting to form groups, your people, my people, this group, that group, and the buddhi is always contaminated with the worldly things. Then what happens? It will not be a good instrument to know the truth, because the truth is very, very subtle. So all the grossness of the intellect should be given up by developing sattva. What Bhagavan says? Bhagavan says, Kudumana varaikum ulaga vyavaharangalilum piratyar, pirar karyangalilum manadai vidadengirar. Don't involve yourself with anybody's business or the ulaga vyavaharam, world's vyavahara. You be focused on whatever you have come for, whatever is the vichara or whatever is the studies, whatever is the contemplation. That is very important thing. And as far as possible, reduce the desires. Means handle your emotions properly. As far as possible, whatever actions you are performing, do it as offering unto the Lord. Nishkamya, without expecting any personal gains. These are all the way to purify the mind, and the buddhi would become very subtle. When the mind becomes quiet, one-pointed, it becomes very sharp and very subtle. See, with that buddhi, through proper discrimination, you can know the self. What is the self? That which makes every experience possible, without which nothing is possible, no experience is possible. Through the eyes, if you are seeing, means Atma, the self, the light of consciousness is behind it. Through ears, if you are hearing, means the light of consciousness is there behind the ears. So, because of which all the experiences are possible. But with the eyes or ears, you cannot see it. Like I told you in an example. With a torch light, you cannot see the battery which is giving light to the torch, which is giving power to the torch. Not light, which is giving power to the torch, you cannot see. So because of which everything is known, everything is experienced, but which by itself cannot be experienced by any of these equipments. That is there, which is Atma, the self. It can be known, it should be known. How it can be known? Sukshma buddhya, through the purified and subtle intellect. All the religious practices, spiritual sadhana, is to reduce the rajas and tamasiness and to bring in more and more sattva. And after that only the spiritual practices are possible, serious spiritual practices. Only when the mind has become very pure and subtle, then only it can understand what the Guru is talking, Guru is teaching. Then only it can really contemplate on the deeper imports of what has been revealed. Then only it can meditate for long about the real lakshyartha of the Upanishadic statements. So therefore, this subtle, purified intellect is a must for a seeker. First of all, he should have buddhi. He should use it. And then it should be a very pure, purified and subtle buddhi. Then he is the seeker. See, it is not everybody's cup of tea actually. Anybody can listen, but who will be benefited? One who has got this kind of a subtle, sharp and purified buddhi. He only will be benefited. Having said that, see, here Gurudev says, behind the not, N-A-U-G-H-T, not means nothing, is the knower knowing the nothingness. See, he says, there is nothing. Nothing is left. He says, then who is knowing the nothingness? So, that behind the not is the knower knowing the nothingness. When you say shunyam, so who is knowing that shunyam? The knower knowing the nothingness is there, that is Atma, the self. See, this is the argument given by Shankara and other great masters to negate the Shunyavada. Similarly, if you say there is no God, how do you know? The question is, how do you know? No, I don't see it. You are not seeing so many things. Just that you don't see means it is not there. You say you don't know, or I am trying to find out, or I am not convinced. That you can say. Like our intellectual people, idiots say, I don't believe in God. If there is God, it is good. If there is God, it is good. I don't see any God. How do you know there is no God? To say there is no God also, you must have done some research. And you have done really good research or experiment with life. To say God also, there is God also, you should have done research. Otherwise, it is just a faith only. Chuma, everybody says, I also believe in. If there is a free ATM available, why not make use of it? God is for us ATM, ATM machine available. Whenever you go and pray, He will give you everything. That's what we think about God. So even to assert or negate, you should have the data. You should have done some experiment. And you should have analyzed and understood it. Otherwise, there is no point in negating or asserting also. So use the buddhi. Be honest. Don't be biased. Don't be closed. Don't try to prove your own pet ideas or theories. So be open. Then only you can arrive at the truth. See, being open is very important. See, that is why I say, when people come for the Vedanta, this kind of a course, when they are not exposed to any other, thoughts or Vedanta philosophy, they are better than who have been listening for so long. Because these people, newcomers are like clean slates. So it is very easy to write on the clean slate, right? If the slate is already scribbled so much, then you have to first of all, and the person will not allow you to erase also. No, I have already scribbled, it's wonderful. Why do you want to rub it, erase it? See? And as I told you, we listen to everybody, everything under the sun. All sorts of philosophies. And we become a very kichadi of all. And not knowing anything. Total confusion. If you want to be a total confusion, kichadi of all confusion, then you should have a father who is a Vedantin and a mother who is part of ISKCON. So you become a total, if you take them seriously. If you don't take both of them seriously, you are blissful. You are a Bhagyavan. ISKCON people say this Adi Shankara is a Mayavadi. Ayo, he is Mayavadi. All nonsense they say. Adi Shankara people say what? It's all now Shastra Sammadam. Whatever they're talking is out of their hat. No Shastra Sammadam. There is no this thing in the Shastra. That's how they each other demean each other. Okay, now moving on. So having said this, therefore there is something. It is not a shunya. That is what is revealed in the first or the second reply of the master. Then he says, Tatsakshikam bhavet taddhat yadyadyenanubhuyate kasyapyananubhutarte sakshitvam nopayujyate. Nopayujyate nangirka. Tatsakshikam bhavet tattad. When we have given you a book, why are you not following that book and following some other book and always chanting as a different version? You have to follow the book what we have given you now.
That's in English version. It's in Sanskrit. It's in Sanskrit.
No, I have given you the book where the Sanskrit is available. Enna pathing in a book?
Small font.
What small font? And you are always chanting something else. See, both are right only. I am not saying that is wrong. But the Pada Bheda is always there. Somehow the difference is creeping. Passage of time. So nobody knows which is right. Or both are, ideas are right only. But the words and all. So then you correct me saying that, no, it is not that. So when we have given you a book, proper book, our Gurudev's commentary and all, we expect you to follow that. At least you don't correct us saying that, no, Swami, this is right. Don't say that. You go with the flow. Okay? I'm not shouting at you, please. Okay, you understand. You are just correcting me as if I am making some mistake. Because you are following a different book.
It's printed by Shankara.
Whatever it is, it's a different book or right. I'm not saying this is wrong. Please understand, I'm not saying this is wrong. Only thing is, Pada Bheda is always there. When everybody is following one version, you have to follow along with that. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Tatsakshikam bhavet taddhad yadyadyenanubhuyate kasyapyananubhutarte sakshitvam nopayujyate. So, in the earlier words he said, no, because of which all the experiences are possible, but nothing can know this experience or this Atma, the self. So that is how he expressed about Atmana. Now he says, what he says, Tat sakshikam bhavet, tat tad, yadyad ena anubhuyate. So whatever is experienced, whatever, yadyat ena anubhuyate, whatever is experienced, there must be someone who is illuminating all, who is making all the experiences possible. Without light, nothing is seen in the world. Similarly, without the Atma Chaitanyam, no thoughts or no ideas are sort of revealed in our antakarana. So all the experiences by which all the experiences are known, so that is the Sakshi. Sakshi means that which illuminates all. So Atma, the self, he says here, Tat Sakshikam Bhavet. Atma, the self, is a sakshi, witness of all the experiences, because of which all the experiences are possible. Why? Only because of the illumination of the Atma Chaitanya, all the experiences are possible. In the external world, because of sunlight, all that is seen in the world. Is that not so? Similarly, inside, because of the Atma Chaitanya's prakasham only, everything is known, all the experiences are possible. Without the experiencer, which is the reflected consciousness, the experienced, the ideas of objects and thoughts are not possible. So he is called a sakshi because he is not involved in it, he is not influenced by it, actually speaking. So this Atma, the self, is a sakshi who is illuminating all the experiences, but who is not influenced by any of the experiences. That is sakshi. But suppose if there are no experience, then he says in the next line, Kasyapi ananubhutarte sakshitvam na upayujyate. Then what? If no experiences are available, then he is no more a sakshi, meaning he is the self. He is not called a sakshi of something. See, only with respect to some happenings in the world outside or inside, you can say somebody is an observer, somebody is a witness. If nothing is happening, how can you call him as a witness? So the idea is, why he is expressing this way, When the anubhava, when the experiences are happening, you say he is a sakshi, who is illumining all the experiences, who is not influenced. But suppose, if there are no experience, if you drop all the equipment, if there are no experience, then nothing, no. That sakshi himself, he is the self, meaning he knows himself by himself. It is not that, the sakshitvam or the witnesshood cannot be attributed to him because there are no happenings. But still, he is not negated. He is the very self. Maybe you cannot call him sakshi, but still he is as your own self. He cannot be negated. Because of whom all the experiences are possible. But suppose if there are no experiences, yes, at that moment he is not the sakshi, but you cannot negate him. He is the very self. How do you know? How do you know means nobody can negate oneself any point of time. And not only that, even if you negate everything and say nothing is there, how do you know who is seeing it? There must be somebody who is illuminating that experience also. So therefore, tat sakshikam bhavet, taddad yadyat ena anubhuyate. So whatever experience is gained, he is a sakshi, he is the illuminator who is not involved but illuminating everything of all the experiences. Kasya api na ananubhutarte. But if he is not illuminating any experience, meaning there are no experience, sakshitvam na upayujyate, you cannot call him as a sakshi, but still he is there very much as Atma, the self, who cannot be negated. So therefore, Atma, the self, is there, which cannot be negated. But it is not aware of some object. It is awareness itself. See, in the world outside, we are only aware of objects or emotions or thoughts. Only aware of always. Or in the deep sleep, I don't know anything. Awareness by itself, we have not experienced it. Awareness by itself. So, when all the objects and thoughts, everything is removed, whatever remains is awareness itself. Awareness of objects, thoughts, emotions, awareness of this, awareness of that. When all the experiences are removed, awareness remains. It is not that everything is removed. See? Because of the awareness you are aware of. You understand? Because of the awareness you are aware of things and beings in the world outside, or also the emotions and thoughts in the world inside. If all the objects, everything is removed, awareness is there still. That is how we have to go also. When all the things are negated, when you remain awake, aware, this choiceless, objectless, that is the self. But that is not an object. Therefore it is called as blissful emptiness. Why? There are no objects. Objects are not there. See, only when there are objects we say there is something. When there are no objects we say there is nothing. That is how we say in the world. Here there are no objects. But the awareness remains. The awareness is so subtle, very subject. The very subject is not an object. So, we have never experienced a state where we are aware but not aware of something. Always we are aware of something only. Just be aware. That experience is not there. Or somehow there is nothing, no awareness or something, ignorance or some tamas where I don't know anything. That we have experienced in deep sleep. In the waking and dream, we are aware of something always. In samadhi, when everything is gone, still the awareness remains. So that awareness is the self. So at that moment, no experience is possible, no objects, no emotions, no thoughts. So he cannot be called a sakshi of anything, illuminator of anything. But the illumination remains, the awareness remains. So this is what he is trying to explain.
So
How
Atma
beautiful.
is subject and object itself.
Subject, very subject, beyond everything. Subject means what? It is always realized as I means what? In the heart as oneself only. He is beyond the subject and object, actually speaking, at the highest standpoint. So when all the objects are removed, so whatever remains as the essence of the subject, because only when the object comes, subject comes. When all the objects are removed, even the subject loses its, that experiencerhood, sakshitvam, he says, na? So whatever remains as the pure being, the very self, the awareness, that is Atma, the self. So here the teacher is taking a lot of pains to explain that even without any experience, your existence is. This is what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi experienced when he was facing death. He wanted to know what is death, who is dying. When all the body identification, everything goes, then I am dead and gone. The body identification goes. When all the thoughts gone, I am gone. All the thoughts also gone. Nothing, but still I am. My God, my existence is beyond, is independent of everything. That is what he realized. In one stroke he realized.
So the subject is, normally understood subject is the Vijnanamaya kosha, I think.
See, generally, only with the knower, the known is seen. Then it is Vijnanamaya kosha. Atma Chaitanya reflected in the Vijnanamaya kosha, and knower is born, known is seen. But when there are no knower, when the known is not there, experiences are not there, this knower no more exists as knower. He abides as a self. The knowerhood or sakshitvam goes.
It's aware of the presence of objects and thoughts and emotions, and aware of the absence also.
And awareness itself.
Yeah, that's awareness.
Itself.
Yes.
See, absence also sometimes becomes a thought only. So here, awareness itself. No thinking of anything. Awareness itself. So that is what he is saying here. That is the self, Atma, the self. So the question was what? When everything is negated, I don't see anything. What are you talking about then? He says, no. When everything is removed also, the person who has been illuminating everything, he remains as the pure Jyoti, Swayam Jyoti, pure light. He remains, he is the self. He is Atma, the self. So there what you should do, what you should not do actually, you should not try to know him. Then what happens when you try to know him and the experiencer experience duality again created? But is beyond the experiencer experience duality. You are making him as an object, a concept, and you are trying to know him. See? Then once again the duality is created. Aware of some concept about the self. Whatever wonderful the concept may be, but still it is a concept. It is not the truth. So all the concepts, all the ideas should subside in the heart. When you are devoid of everything, then whatever remains is Atma, the self. அப்போ என்ன செய்யணும்? ஒன்றும் செய்ய வேண்டாம். சும்மா கொஞ்ச நேரம் இருக்கணும். Let everything come and go. You don't even wanting to know anything. Just remain. அதுதான் நமக்கு பொறுமையே கிடையாது. We want to know something or other. Then only will people will call me as Brahmagyani, na? If I don't know Brahman, how will people respect me? So we want to be very fast, we want to become a Brahmagyani. அதெல்லாம் இங்கே நடக்காதுப்பா. ஃபாஸ்டாலாம் நடக்காது, ஸ்லோவாகவும் நடக்காது. நடக்கும்போது நடக்கும், பார்ப்போம் அப்படின்னு பொறுமையாக இருக்கணும். Meaning we have to be patient and not expect anything to happen. Just be. And that being is the self. If you become something, you are not. I want to become a Brahmagyani. Sorry. I want to become a teacher. Sorry. Just be. Then that being is the self-realization. இந்த சிக்கல் இருக்கிறதுனால ப்ராப்ளமாக இருக்குது எல்லாருக்குமே. இல்லாட்டி புத்திசாலிகளுக்கு எல்லாத்தையும் புரிஞ்சுக்க முடியுமே. The intelligent people can understand everything. But here the trick is, அந்த பருப்பு இங்கே வேகாது. That cannot happen here. That is why they fail miserably. They have been knowing everything as an object, but here they want to know Brahman also as an object. But sorry, you have to go. You cannot know, you have to go. When you go, Lord enters. When the ego departs, the God enters. Meaning what? The self is revealed. So that is how it is explained here. Asau swasakshiko bhavaha yatasvenanubhuyate atah param swayam sakshat pratyaghatmana chetaraha asau swasakshiko bhavaha yathasvenanubhuyate atah param swayam sakshat pratyaghatmana chetaraha. See? Asau swasakshikaha. Swasakshikaha bhavaha. Meaning, at that state where there are no experience, when everything is negated, when there are no experience, then he illuminates himself. Swasakshikaha. In other words, he is a sakshi of himself. Swasakshikaha bhavaha. Yataha svena anubhuyate. That is how he realizes himself. Who realizes? He means the Paramatma realizes itself. Something like that. Meaning, he becomes his own sakshi, or he knows himself. Anubhuyate. See, இதெல்லாம் கூட ஒரு மாதிரி play of words மாதிரி தான் கிட்டத்தட்ட. Meaning, there is nothing to be known, just be the knowledge or be the self. But if all the experiences are removed, then what? Then he is there, illuminating himself, knowing himself. That is how it is expressed here. It is not that nothing is. Everybody is gone, nothing is. No. He is the Sakshi who is illuminating himself. It is as if saying, the light, when the drama is over, it is illuminating itself. Light is there still. It is illuminating itself. Instead of saying light alone is, you say, all this time it has been illuminating something else, but now it is illuminating itself. All this time it is been experiencing something, now it is experiencing itself. Something like that you can say. Ataha param swayam sakshat. That is the swayam. That is the real self. Sakshat. Pratyagatma. It is the Atma which is in the shining as eye in the heart. Na itaraha. Not anything else is Atma. Not anything else is Atma. When everything else is given up, all the koshas are given up, the buddhi also is given up, then whatever illuminates itself, whatever experiences itself, that is Atma self. கொஞ்சமாவது புரியுதா? ஒன்றுமே புரியல சுவாமிஜி. Then you are intelligent. ஏன்னா புரியக்கூடாது. புரிஞ்சுன்னு சொன்னால் புரியலைன்னு அர்த்தம். புரியலைன்னு சொன்னால் புரியலைன்னு அர்த்தம். இப்போ என்ன தான் சொல்லணும்? ஒன்றும் சொல்லக்கூடாது. பேசாமல் கேட்டுகிட்டே இருக்கணும்.
Non-duality all about this. Where everything, when there is something, when there is nothing, then the non-duality comes into play. Where there is only one.
See, that is how it is said, but you know what? After reaching the non-duality, you see everything is one only. That is also there. After reaching that state, everything is that only.
It had been that.
Had been that only. It had been that only. See, yesterday we were talking about an example. If this mud pot, instead of identifying with the mud, if the mud pot identifies only with the akara, a form of one pot, then it is missing out. It cannot be the self of all the pots. You understand? But it identifies the mud, it becomes self of all the mud pots. What we are trying to say is, don't identify with one pot, one shape, one form. That is why Neti Neti is said. Sorry, please don't do that. Don't identify with one body, one mind. Meaning, don't identify with one pot. You are not that one pot. You are actually the mud, essence of all the pots. Please, please, please. Then when you give up the idea of this one akara, name and form, then you become the essence of all the mud pots. That is what you see. See, then you see all the other mud pots. The shape only you are seeing. Oh, not those mud pots you are. Not this mud pot also. Not those mud pots you are. Means what? Once again, your idea is pot, the shape. Not even the other pots you are. Then you are the essence of all the pots. Only when you know the essence that you are the mud, then you understand, oh, this mud is the essence of all the pots. You understand what I am trying to say? So our mind is obsessed with the form and name and form, a particular personality. So we are trying to break that away, saying that no, don't do that. If you identify with the essence, you know that you are the self of all. See, that is what he is trying to say. So now all the experiences are happening. You are Sakshi, right? Suppose if all the experiences subside, then everything goes, the Sakshitvam goes, because there is nothing to witness. But the fellow remains, fellow means what? The self remains illuminating himself, knowing himself. That is what is expressed here. That is the real self, which is Pratyagatma, the self shining in the heart. That is the Sarvatma, self of all. So that has to be known. You understand? So the question is very clear. Now the answer is also very, very clear. The question is, when you negate all the Panchakoshas, when you give up all the equipments of your knowledge, then I see nothing, O Guru. Then what are you talking about? To know about something called as Atma, the self. I don't see anything. He says, you are right, my dear, but when you negate everything also, maybe he may lose his witnesshood, but he remains as a self. Aware of oneself, conscious of oneself. You understand? So that is the self. So he can be known only through Sukshma Buddhya. What is Sukshma Buddhi? The Sukshma Buddhi is, you should not objectify him. You should just remain as his self, as being, as his self, as oneself, being. This is Sukshma Buddhi. What is gross Sthula Buddhi? Wanting to know him. That is Sthula Buddhi. Sukshma Buddhi means what? You should not know him, just remain. That is Sukshma Buddhi. I tell you again and again, I am so fascinated with this idea. You know what? Arunachala Tattvam has come into existence only to tell you this. You cannot know him. You cannot objectify him. Brahma and Vishnu couldn't. You and I cannot. Just be. Don't try to become something. The Rajasic fellows, you know what? They have mastered all sciences. They have got degrees, PhDs. Rajasic fellows, intelligent fellows. Now they want to get another degree of a Brahmagyani. Somehow they struggle to get Brahmagyani. I will not leave this Brahman now. I am going to know it and going to become a Brahmagyani now. Die. Go and hang yourself. You cannot know it. Then you become humble. Yes, I cannot know it. It is not like other sciences. I have to go. Unfortunately, I have to go. Giving up all my degrees, giving up all my achievements, accomplishments, I have to become nothing. Then only you are there, my dear. With all your cap, feathers in the cap, with all your, beautiful, degrees and, achievements, accomplishments. As a big ego, you can never become a Brahmagyani or never become Brahman. You have to lose everything, you have to become nothing. So really you have to become nothing. Not chumma vilayattukilla. Really you have to become nothing. Then you are there. Otherwise not. You cannot be a sannyasi, in bracket, retired IAS. You can be either retired IAS or a sannyasi. You cannot be both. You understand what I am saying? You have to give up. Either you can be a sannyasi or a Brahmin. You cannot be a Brahmana sannyasi. If you think you are a Brahmana sannyasi, you are not a sannyasi. If you think you are a Brahmin, you are not a sannyasi. You have to lose everything. The mud pot should lose its akara, its everything, so that it identifies the mud. But the glory is when it identifies the mud, it is the self of all the mud pots. Is that a glorious existence, or being, self of one mud pot, and when that mud pot breaks, I am gone. But if you are the mud, if all the mud pots break also, still I am. Nothing is lost. So this is a glorious existence. So at that moment he becomes Sakshi of his own self. He knows himself. So that is the Pratyagatma. You understand? So moving on. So this Adi Sankara, he is a great poet also, great philosopher also, Brahmagyani also, teacher also, a great missionary also. Jagrat swapna sushupti susputataram. Wait. No. Jagrat swapna sushupti sputataram. Yosau samujjumbhate pradyagrupataya sada mahamiti ahamiti antaspuranaikadha नानाकार विकार भागिन इमान् पश्यन्नहं दीमुखान् नित्यानन्दचिदात्मना स्फुरति तम् विद्धि स्वमेतं हृदि जाग्रत् स्वप्न सुषुप्तिषु स्फुटतरम् योऽसौ समुज्जृम्भते प्रत्यग्रूपतया सदाहमहमिति अन्तःस्फुरन्नैकधा नानाकारविकारभागिन इमान् पश्यन्नहं दीमुखान् नित्यानन्दचिदात्मना स्फुरति तम् विद्धि स्वमेतं हृदि. See, we compose some sort of silly poems. They call this Pudukavidai nowadays, which has no meaning, which has no meter, nothing, and we say we are poets. See here, how many poems, poem after poem, he is composing. And not only that, Vedavyasa, my God, 18 Puranas, Bhagavata, only how many thousands of verses. My God, these people are something extraordinary, no? You cannot imagine even. And they are very quiet. But these people who compose few slokas here, few poems here and there, they say, we are, Kavi Arasu, we are this, that. What a beautiful poem, see? Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Sputataram Yo Vasau Samrujjimbate. So, in the Jagrat, in the waking state, Swapna in the dream, Sushuptishu in the deep sleep, Sputataram Yaha Asau Samujrumbate. Very clearly, who manifests as whom? The illuminator of all. Samujrumbate. Pratyagrupadaya Sada Aham Aham iti. Antaspuran. So Pratyagrupadaya means what? Deep inside the cave of the heart. Sada Aham Aham iti. He shines as I. Hridaya Guhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram. Aham Aham iti Sakshat. The Aham Aham la vartha inge eduthirukkar Bhagavan. Aham Aham iti Sakshat Atma Rupena Bhati. So, Pratyagrupadaya Sada Aham Aham iti Antaspuran Naikada Nanakara Vikara Bhagina Iman Pashyan Aham Dhi Mukan. And Nanakara Vikara means all the other modifications of the Buddhi. He only is a witness. Pashyan Aham Dhi Mukan. By becoming the knower. Ahamdi. He only is becoming the knower, and seeing everything. Nityananda Chidatmana Spatitam Vidyas Swametam Hrudi. And he is expressing as what? Nityananda. Always blissful. Chidatmana. And that pure knowledge, pure consciousness. Spuratitam. He is manifesting, or he is expressing, revealing that way. Vidyas Swametam Hrudi. Know him as your own self in your own heart. So this is the idea here. Yeah. So it is very clearly expressed here. In all the three states, Atma, the self, is there. It is not absent at any point of time, at any state of experience. It is always available. Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu. Sputataram, very clear. Yaha asau samrujrumbate means he manifests or is clearly evident, clearly is available. Pratyak rupataya sada aham aham taya. Aham aham iti antaspuran. Nanakara vikara bhagina yiman pashyan ahamdi mukhan. So he is the one who is eliminating all the experiences, including the ego, the experiencer. See? So he has to be realized as Atma, the self, in our own hearts. So Kena Upanishad says, without him, no seeing, hearing, feeling, thinking is not possible. But you cannot see him, hear him, think about him. So therefore, you have to know him in your own heart as oneself, aham aham taya, spurati hrit swayam. You know him as oneself. But in the world outside, what is he? He is the eliminator of everything. But eliminator of all the modifications of the mind and the intellect. But what is he truly? He is a self. In that, there is nothing other than itself. See, you understand? See, they say Tatastha Lakshana and Swarupa Lakshana. Tatastha Lakshana means like this. If you want to point out a house, there are so many houses. You are standing on the top of a terrace of a house and you want to point out a house. But there are so many houses. And almost the same paint, let us say. Then you say, see, there is a crow sitting in a house, that house you say. So, to point out the house, you first indicate the crow and then you point out the house. You should just see the house and understand, oh, that is the house, answer it. You should not remember the crow. Crow the crow may not be there next time. Crow is only a help to point out the house. After that, you have to see the house. Similarly, the world of experiences are sort of given as a reference to go inside. Meaning what? That which illuminates all the experiences, all the modifications of the mind and the thoughts and the thinking. So, with respect to the world, he is that. See, without referring to the known, you cannot go to the unknown. The good teacher is the one who will first tell you about the known, and then slowly he will take the student from the known to the unknown. So what is known to us? Only the world of experience. The self is not known. It cannot be known also in that way. So what the teacher does first, he first tells you whatever is known. And he says, the Atma, the self only, when the buddhi, if it reflects, it becomes a knower and knows everything in the world outside. Oh, now I understand. Even though he illuminates everything, he is not influenced by anything. He is just Sakshi. Oh, now I understand. Therefore, as a sadhana, you should not be influenced by anything. You are the self. Okay, I understand. So, when you remain like that, as Sakshi, what happens? All the experiences may come to an end, and then he is no more a Sakshi, but he reveals himself. He becomes the illuminator of himself. See? First of all, if you say if he is the illuminator of himself, he may not understand anything. So you say illuminator of everything. And he is not involved in anything. He is not influenced by anything. So with reference to the world, you point out the Atma first. Now I understand. Now slowly you sort of withdraw your attention to that Sakshi who is just witnessing everything. Yeah, I am able to understand. When you remain like that, then all the experiences may just subside in your heart. Then the Sakshi is no more a witness of something, but he is the witness of himself. Means what? He is known to himself and he abides in his own self. how beautifully they take you. So this is how it is said. They first point out your own experience in the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. And he says the illuminator of all these experiences. He is only expressing in the Di, Buddhi. And he is only illuminating all the experiences. But when you withdraw from all the experiences and focus on yourself, and all the experiences go, but he remains illuminating himself. Or he knows himself. So that is the Atma, the self. There you should not try to know him. You have known everything now. Stop. Then he remains. Knowing himself means what? He reveals himself and you abide in him. This is how it is explained. So I think it is becoming very concentrated, and also youngsters have compound. They may know Kandraganga. But don't underestimate our youngsters. They have listened to all scriptures. For the past 7-8 years, these people have listened. So many scriptures. They know more. In fact, they will tell everything one word or one sentence. They will smash everything out. Such intelligent children are here. They are not ordinary.
Swamiji, you said about Tatastha Lakshana and the
Swarupa Lakshana. Swarupa Lakshana means by showing straight away. Swarupa.
So the crow example is
Tatastha. You point out something and then you point the truth. Through that. That is Tatastha.
Poetic language from one the very verses I can't remember which. Buddha describes it. Something is said. Shankara the poet and Shankara
Philosopher.
revel together, outshining each other.
Beautiful.
That was stuck in that statement.
See, actually, Gurudev has written a book, Shankara the Missionary. He has written a book, Shankara the Missionary. There, all these things he has written, I suppose so. Or anywhere else he could have written, but there the introduction about Shankara is so beautiful. You must have read that. Exemplary it is. And Gurudev's language, like Shankara only, his language in English.
You can't proceed further because you get stuck in that.
Outshine each other. Okay, we'll stop here. Om Purnamadha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudhachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.